Soulless Dead Brotherhood. Chapter 3. The Coyote. We drove for quite some time. I'm not sure what it was that caused us to take the wrong turn. We were heading south. We ended up in West Virginia, and we kept driving and driving. I'm not sure whether it was my dad's frustration, the fear, or the traumatic event of killing those two guys in that gas station in Pennsylvania. Either that or it was the lack of sleep, or maybe it was a combination of all that. But he was definitely upset. We stopped as day began to break. It was getting bright enough to where we could pull one of the road maps out. We placed it on the hood and bounced it with some rocks. My dad pounded his fist against the hood, startling my mom out from a nap she was taking. The one time I didn't invest in a damn GPS. He laughed a little bit. We're in West Virginia. Pretty deep in it, if you ask me. And we're starting to run low on fuel. Hey, Danny, he snapped his fingers. Grab those canisters and put them both into the truck. Let's see. Looking at the map he scanned, we need to head towards Parkersburg. Athens, Chillicothe. We need to head that way. It'll send us in a straighter path. What do you think? I really didn't know what to say, but I definitely felt honored that he was actually asking me. Well, Dad, that seems like a good idea. That's what I like to hear. Let's get it done. Come on. We poured the gas in and began to go. We drove for quite some time, but the gas doesn't last long when you have a gas guzzler like our truck. It coasted pretty well, but we were driving a little extra slow. That way we didn't get caught by any gunfire, so that we could be a little more observant. Going about 40 to 50. I wish we could go somewhere like 80, but we didn't want to draw too much attention to ourselves. Eventually we got close to the outskirts of Parkersville. We could see a small military bastion set up just off the highway. They had roadblocks set up, and we could see a couple cars parked in the ditches and stuff like that. They had some roadblocks set up to where you'd have to zigzag through so nobody could just speed right through it. My dad pulled out some binoculars from the back he used for bird watching and looked down the way. They have some guards, M16s. I'm a little worried, though. What do you mean, Dad? I looked at him. Well, we want to be sure that these soldiers are still a little patriotic. My mom said, what do you mean? What does their patriotism have to do with anything? I was being sarcastic. But you gotta be careful around these guys. We don't know if they're still wanting to serve and protect, so let's take it slow. The worst part is they spotted us. They got binoculars on us, too. They're casing us. Get back in the truck, and let's just make our way up there slowly. My dad rolled his window down in case they yelled something over a megaphone. We drove slowly up towards it. The truck was hiccuping with gas, and eventually the truck just completely stopped. We were less than 200 yards away. We got out of the truck. My dad had grabbed a stick and fashioned an old white t-shirt of his onto it and waved it around. Sure enough, a loudspeaker came over and said, "Alright, that's good. Just stay right where you're at." We were within 50 yards of the front gate. They opened the chain-link fence and sent a man out. Another man came closely behind him with an M16 drawn at us. They made their way up to us and patted us down. They looked at us. "What's in the trash bags?" "Just some food. We were going through Pennsylvania. We have a lot. We have plenty to share. We don't want any trouble." "Who are you?" They fished through my dad's pocket and pulled out his ID badge. "Well," one of them smirked, "Dr. Whippen, welcome to West Virginia. I'm Sergeant Calloway. Come with me." We made our way inside the gate. We could see a bunch of tents set up, a small triage unit, but nobody was in it. It was quiet. There was blood stained on the ground, and it looked like somebody was trying to wash it off, but it only made it stain even more. "My God, what happened here?" my dad said. "Well, earlier this week, we began to get slammed with people. People were wanting to leave the big cities. People all the way around have been coming down here. West Virginia isn't exactly known for its massive population, if you will. People all the way as far as Pittsburgh have been coming this way. You're the first out yet. I mean, my goodness, what makes you want to leave New York?" The soldier thought about it and recanted his statement. He probably wanted to get away from all the people. "True that," my dad said. I was in the Army myself, and I can't believe you boys have been this committed. Well, we have to be. There are people that rely on us. We originally started out with roughly 18 families here. We were trying to keep people slowing down. We didn't want too many people leaving Parkersburg, going out into the countryside and spreading it to other people and getting it everywhere else. The quarantine orders were pretty serious. You being a doctor, I'm sure you know that. You being a soldier, I'm sure you know that as well. Yeah, I understand fully. But why are people wanting to leave this town? I mean, Parkersburg isn't any New York City or Charleston for that matter. Well, there's the million-dollar question. People were wanting to leave because they seen shows like on TV as zombie survival shows and thought if they headed to the country they'd be safer. Well, when you get a couple thousand people thinking the same thing, there's bound to be traffic jams. As you can see, we had to push most of the cars off the road and into the ditches that were just abandoned. People left on foot. Damn crazy people just walked off into the woods. We haven't seen them since. We see a couple of those walkers. My God, even McPherson over there could have sworn he saw one of those boys that had just walked off not hours ago coming back as one of those blood-spewing biters. Freaking A, my dad said. My mom perked up. How many people do you have here still? Well, a lot of people just bugged out. We've got about 4 families here, including ourselves. Each one of them's a decent shot, more or less. We can't keep it up. We don't got a lot of food here. Well, what do you think we should do? One of them's a trucker. He's been talking. He's been on about getting in the truck and just going somewhere. The Midwest is what he said. My dad looked up. That's funny. I have a friend that was working with us. He worked for the CDC. He said the Midwest might be a safe place. Military bases, low population density, easy to see things from distances. Well, that'd probably be the place to go. I don't know, though. Come on, Sergeant, think about it. We can't just abandon our post. Things fell apart the instant this stuff happened. Most of the boys in New York have completely abandoned their post. But this ain't New York. Yeah, but it will be eventually. If we're heading here and all those people have said what you said earlier, don't you think more people will be heading this way? He gritted his teeth for a moment, only to shake his head. I don't know what to do, as he let out a deep sigh. What do you think? I think you should head with us. We could use the guns, we could use the skill and the discipline. I've run into plenty of things worse than the biters already. Somebody tried to kill us just a little bit ago just for the change in our pocket and our car. I ain't surprised, Sergeant said. One of them boys tried to ram his truck through here. Trying to get to our stuff. He had his gun blaring and everything. Shooting out his damn window like Rambo. We lit that son of a gun up. Pickup truck's just over yonder. We pushed it into the ditch off the road again. I looked over at it as I picked it out. It was a red Blazer. There were massive holes for bullets. There was blood splatter on the window. What about the body? We did the right thing. We grabbed a knife and stuck it through the back of his head. Don't want to waste the bullets. Smart. You've been communicating with the medical people. Hell no. Shoot, Spencer over there. He shot one in the head. Seemed to drop him just fine. We figured it out real quick. TV's right. Usually is. After talking and getting some food in our belly and speaking with the other people, we met with the trucker family. Trevor Donnelly, he shook my dad's hand. I own that rig over yonder. It's got a full tank, several backup tanks, and we're ready to go. I was a prepper myself and ended up out here. But I realized survival in numbers was a little better. We were just waiting for more people to show up. Being as you're a doctor and an army man, you seem like the guy that fit the job to help us out. We're heading to the Midwest too. Where do you think you're going? Well, we were heading to Kansas. Kansas sounds like a good idea. Fly over state. Now a lot of people are there. That's what we thought. Big city New Yorkers running around. We knew that we just want to go somewhere where nobody would want to go. Well, you gotta figure a lot of people have been watching them shows like Walking Dead, so you gotta know they're wanting to head the same place. Let's just hope they don't make it. I took in what my dad and the trucker were talking about, and it was really dark. Hoping that people don't make it, just so that you can make it. It's almost like rats trying to claw over each other in a sinking ship. One more gasp of air. One more second of life. Fine. We need to leave at night. Night? You kidding me? What if people jump us? They'll jump us at night if we're here. We're exposed. We have no real cover. There's woods all around us. This is just a junction to stop people. That doesn't mean people can't be spying on us, and I'm sure there's people out there watching us with viewfinders with their rifles pointed right at you and your truck and your family. The men began to argue, and I walked up and said, I agree with my dad. We can get in the truck and we can go. Fine. We'll listen to you. We got all the people together, including the soldiers. We told them what we were going to do. We siphoned all the fuel we could out of all the tanks of the vehicles and placed them into a backup container placed in the back of the rig. It held a lot of fuel, but we didn't quite fill it up. Alright, now we're going to keep driving. We're going to head to Kansas. That's the deal. If anybody doesn't want to stay, now's your chance to stay here or get going. One of the families stood up, a family of 4. No. This is our home. We're not leaving. We'll stay here and wait it out. We'll see what's going on. The soldiers all stood up. We've made our decision. We're coming with you. I don't see us staying here for much longer. This post is very exposed. Dr. Whitman pointed it out. We need to leave. This place is just for traffic stops, and we ain't been seeing a lot of traffic, so I don't see the point. This whole thing's foobar as far as I'm concerned. Let's just go. Most of the soldiers were young, so I don't think they were too worried about themselves or their families. They got in the back of the truck, grabbing all the gear we could, grabbing all the food. The trucker went over to the family that was sitting there. Are you sure you don't want to go? No, but good luck. We gave them a pile of food and supplies, and we piled it in the back of the truck. My dad got out and said, I'll be riding up front with you, that way we can communicate. They grabbed a walkie-talkie and handed it to us. If anything comes up, we'll call you. Just brace yourselves, okay? Lay low, just relax, and we'll be Kansas in no time. My dad stopped and said, I just want everybody to be safe, but remember, we're in this together. We gotta be careful. The trucker began to pick up 5-gallon buckets. You're gonna need these. We can't be stopping for no bathroom breaks, so be sure to use these. Keep the lids on them. That smell will get real ripe real quick. It can get hot here. I drilled some holes in the side of the wall so you guys can get a little more airflow. There's blankets. There's plenty of stuff in here. If you get hungry, just remember to conserve it. If you don't need to eat, or you're just a little hungry, just don't bother eating. There's plenty of water back there from when I stuck it back there and left. We just gotta be safe. We gotta be careful. He walked back and started to close the doors. It made me remember this time we were talking about illegal immigration. A coyote. Somebody who trucks people across the border. It's known as somebody who packs people as tight to the brim in the back of a truck and is able to move people by charging them. Some of those guys were total bastards, though. They would unhitch a trailer, or they would force people out by gunpoint, leaving them in the middle of the desert or in the middle of the wilderness to die. I was hoping it wasn't like this, and I was glad my dad sat up there with him. Maybe he was thinking the same thing. Or maybe he just wanted to see what happened to the world. I wasn't too sure, and quite frankly, I wasn't too worried. I just wanted to get in that truck, and I just wanted to go. I wanted to be out of here. The truck started and rattled. It was quite loud, and then we began to move forward as the truck heaved forward. It's going to be okay, my mom said, but I think she was saying it more for herself, reassuring herself that this wasn't a bad decision. I really can't say. I looked out the hole in the side, and the sun actually started to go down. I laid down, rolling up a blanket, and tried to relax. We'll get through this. God, I hope the gas tanks don't run out.